And speaking of appreciation, Waf, appreciate you being here at the early hour today. Waf and I are both have some office activities planned this weekend, so we had to coordinate a little bit earlier. But we would not miss this market for the world. Waf, how you doing, King?
Doing very well. How's it going, man? We switched coasts this week, but we're still coming at you on a Monday.
Dude, absolutely. The only other thing that's changed is this big red mark on my forehead from not buying enough Gizmo. WAF came into my DMs and messaged a few times in the Ordinals chat and said, "Yo, this thing, imaginary Gizmo cat, is minting." And what an absolute cook, dude! You want to tell people about Gizmo and the great trade you put on?
So the symbol or the ticker was Gizmo Imaginary Kitten, and it started minting rather slow, but it was from the Puppets artist. So once that kind of spread out, it caught on quick. Minting was kind of tough. It started getting really expensive, so I just started buying on secondary. So I bought maybe a little bit over 4 million on secondary for under one sat, and this thing has exploded to almost like 30 sats now. So I've already sold off about 40K of it, holding it about another 35, and just an absolute cook. It's like really time to be locked in and paying attention to like all these runes that are just coming out right now.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude, and such a good play. It was like a 40 or 50x on your end. I think I maybe got like an 8 or 10 and then sold. I think I minted 2 when you pinged me, and then was out for the day, so just got rugged with IRL stuff. But it was awesome, dude. The play itself was so good. So a little bit of background lore there. There was one point when Puppets started initially breaking out, and the artist for Puppets, he jokingly said that he was going to make a campaign collection for the Puppets, like a companion. And he announced like basically puppet cats. Said every puppet was going to get a cat, and the price just dumped. And he was like, "I'm just kidding. Like I never meant that seriously. That was just a joke." But then he finally posted the photo of Gizmo the kitten, and that just sent it. So funny that he did that. Absolute pump. I was really surprised with the market cap valuation it got there. It's about 10% of what Pups is, which was really good. There definitely was a lot of speculation into some other runes on the weekend. I think that was definitely the big winner. There was a few others that did pretty well. There was some frogs and some other random stuff that I think were like a 5 to 10x off mint. But that was definitely the big play of the weekend. A lot of puppet derivative tokens also launched, and those weren't met with a ton of success. Just as a data point, I've kind of noticed like compared to Solana shitcoins, you usually see like Goat or whatever the top narrative is, you'll get a ton of derivatives, and some of those might even reach 10% of the 10%. It's like 10% of Pup's market cap given to Gizmo. You'd hope to see 10% of Gizmo and some other stuff, but we haven't really seen any of those derivatives yet for Gizmo come out and really stick.
Yeah, I think we had Kika, the bunny plush, which is basically the puppet is holding like this little rabbit, and that was one of the beta plays. It got up to probably like 2 sats, and it's now down, but it's probably like around the million market cap. Whereas Gizmo, I think, hit like 20 million market cap, which on a rune that just launched is like pretty remarkable. And then today, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but like I believe the Shids launched another rune. It was called Gizmo Shidcorn, and I think that one is up around 7 sats right now, and that's probably like one of the top volume plays today on Magic Eden. So like that's another one that could potentially run. So I'd keep my eye on that one as well. And then just because this whole puppet like system is flying, um, Puppet Maxi Bids. You remember? I don't know if you remember that. That ordinal back in the day. They're coming out with a new ordinal, Bitcoin Gizmos, and I think if you own a PNB, you're on the whitelist for it. So now the PNB floor price like has gone up like 185% like today. I guess that's people trying to grab some ordinals to be able to mint this Bitcoin Gizmo. So this puppet meta and narrative is just really like rolling hard right now in the Bitcoin world. I'll say.
Dude, really, and it's surprising. I thought after Gizmo and then after the PMB announcement, I thought we'd see some more pop in the puppet floor itself. Puppets were really close to point 0.2 last week. They finally flipped node monkeys briefly. Think they got unflipped. And now they're back down to about 0.18 range. About it yesterday, they're down to 0.16. So they're still in that range. I'll very quickly, just because we have a slightly shorter episode today, remind everybody of the tried and true play of flipping stuff. If you get a good pullback during the hot market cycle, puppets and node monkeys, really good play to get a 0.01 to 0.02 flip out of them. There's a little bit of downside risk, but it just seems like it's been pretty consistently working. Once again, at that point, 1.6 range, you would have been able to make about $1,200 off a floor puppet pretty quickly. So definitely a trade to keep in mind there. But Waf, what are your thoughts here with the runes heating up? Actually, so like CoinEx is already listing Gizmo. CoinEx is not really the most popular perp place, but it's nice to see marketplaces actually listing runes. You think we're getting closer to mainstream adoption here?
Oh, I certainly don't think we're getting closer to mainstream adoption, but we just have this overall, October narrative that's kicking in. You got Bitcoin now pushing 66,000. Um, volume has been up, right? We've been looking at the volume the last couple of weeks. We said October maybe started like a week late, but I think now we're seeing kind of like the people that are in the world paying attention, like they're making all their money on these secondary plays, while from the mainstream perspective, it looks like nothing is going on. So I think they won't enter until we hit the all-time highs, and then we'll see like a real mania. But for now, this is sort of like the crypto natives making a lot of money.
Yeah, good analysis there, Waf. I mean, definitely seems like even if we're not getting too much closer, at least we're not going further away or closer to zero. Um, but I do agree with you. It seems pretty contained. I know a lot of runes lost a little bit of market share to Gizmo. At least that's kind of the narrative of some of this like mid-tier stuff like Based Internet Panda. Some memes that are a little bit newer this cycle that had a lot of momentum. Seems like they're kind of dripping a little bit. As we continue to see more volume pull into Gizmo there. But still nice to see some action. Anything else going on your radar in terms of newer stuff that has come out besides Gizmo? To be honest, I'm more so looking at the old collections still, but I'm curious if there's anything that's been catching your eye or is on your timeline.
No, I mean, right, for now, I think that's it. I mean, we were looking usually week to week, and last week when we did the show, Billion Dollar Cat was at 97 sats, and during this past week, it's probably gotten as high as 134, 135. Hitting its all time high, and now kind of coming down a bit. And I think Gizmo is definitely like the shiny new toy, right? And so now some things have pulled back, like you said. But if you look over like the last 7 days, they're still up. They might be down these last couple of days, but nothing to be worried about. I think if you just keep looking at it from like a weekly perspective, like everything is trending up, right? And if you're looking at ones that you're bullish on, like the dips are probably a good time to enter.
Yeah, completely agree. Um, Two more runes I wanted to bring up. One is Psycho Hamster, and I brought it up before, but they're really continuing to close up towards their all-time high. And in terms of runes, with runes heating up, and I think you're definitely right, people are going to want to get in when they're at their all-time highs. They have just been grinding and building throughout the bear. They really have gone all out with their memes. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Psycho Hamster Twitter. I know we have a few people in MVHQ who mess with the vision, so to speak. But it's just such a good job posting memes and making content. It really reminds me of like Stanley Coin over on Solana. That one took a while to gain traction, but I really do think that the memes that just continue to build and build and build, and they just have like deep arsenal bags of memes at their disposal. Those are the ones that I think are really good investments in the future, at least in terms of meme coins, right? So, especially with the resurgence on meme coins on ETH and Solana, I think it's only a matter of time. Psycho Hamster, definitely one of the most thorough memes that we have seen out. On Rune. So I really want to, once again, speak Psycho Hamster's name there. A little bit of a pullback this week. I think if it continues to pull back, could be a good name to nibble at.
Also, just want to say shout out to Dizzy. He posted a remix video he did for Psycho Hamster, and like the X account reposted it. So shout out to Dizzy there. But I agree with you on Psycho Hamster. Like they've been posting nonstop even through the bear. Like I think they're going to be one of the successful memes out on Bitcoin. That's for sure.
Dude, that's so sick. Shout out to Dizzy if you're listening back to the recording, dog. Congratulations. I gotta check that out. That's so hype. And then one more speculative play, and I promise you this is the name of the rune, and I'm not just having a laugh, but it is actually called Dick Thickness, Dik. So there's these little deer uh, in, I want to say Africa, that are called dicks, and I've known about them since I was like a kid. They're in the Smithsonian. They're very cute deer. Obviously, have a very funny name. But they made a meme out of them or a rune coin recently. It briefly reached, I want to say, 350K or 400K market cap. Now it's down to about 250. I didn't do anything crazy, so maybe slightly bag biased, but I bought a few $100 worth of the token. I had that feel at Psycho Hamster when it was sub a mil, and sure enough, it went higher. Definitely want to see these team behind Dick make some more memes and continue to push out content. But I definitely think it's something that I think fits the narrative of just what we see in crypto Twitter. It's kind of got like a toilet humor kind of angle just with the name, but it also does have a cute little deer, and they've done a decent job with making memes where I could see that catching at some point. So that's my speculative meme play of the weekend. Haven't really taken any speculative rune plays since being back, but now that we're back in full force and the market's hot, I figured I'd try to call one early, see what happens. So just calling my shot here. We'll see how it goes.
It's not a bad idea. High rise lifts all boats, and when this you know all moves up, then I think everything's going to go along for the ride for the most part, just kind of naturally. And when you're talking about these really super small market caps, like something that's 200K, 250K could easily hit $1 million, and that's a 4x. So it's a nice little play there.
Appreciate it, Waf. Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, it's got some potential. I've certainly seen some other stuff that's come and gone. I don't know if you saw like Wishy Washy Machine. That was another one that I thought could have done okay, but just didn't really see enough of a social presence for it, so stayed away. It looks like they added social media links for runes on Magic Eden, which I love. So same rules in effect as shitcoins. Check out the socials, see if people are tweeting about it. I do think a lot of what moves runes, especially, is just kind of that social influence. So, still as important as ever to go in there and see if it actually has some prevalence online or not.
Yeah, agreed. And then right now we're going through like sort of like a cute like animal cycle of meme coins. So if you drop something kind of unrelated to that during like this meta, even if you start off hot, you're probably gonna tail off and fail. That's why I think that Dick one does pretty well. And it's funny because I was looking up just like animal names, and I saw that one pop up as one of them. I was like, oh, I guess they must have did the same thing, and that's how they launched that thing. Because I was trying to look at some potential, funny animal names for runes, and you could just do that, open up some socials, and when the market's hot like this, people will go mint it. They'll figure out market cap, and then see whether or not it's worth minting it on secondary while it's still minting. And it's kind of like the meta we're in right now. I mean, just it's almost like this a spray and pray strategy. Like just throw a few $100 at everything, and something might run. And like that one that runs will make up for like all the ones that don't, basically. And that's kind of like how I'm playing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the move, Lath. And I was really waiting from confirmation, just from the market and then traders in here as well to go ahead and do that. But seeing you make some big trades as well as Jake over the weekend, obviously that was a different ecosystem with Solana. But I think with shitcoins running hot, definitely makes sense that you're just going to start to see entire market beta plays, right? People who missed all the 100 and 200 X's, whatever, on Solana. I'm sure there's going to be some attention going to runes. Definitely saw some gains come back to BRC20s and ordinals, so it's definitely a great time. I took a few feelers on some funny pup mint outs over the weekend as well. There was two girls, one pup, and then there was one that was God's favorite elephant, which is the little elephant shirt trait from Puppets. So tried those out on some mints, and I saw a few others that some people minted over the weekend that were either puppet themed or like spanking the monkey themed, and those didn't do too great, unfortunately. But I think those are really good shots from the MVHQ community, and I think exactly like you said, you just kind of keep into perspective A lot of them are going to go to zero with the runes, but as long as you use good risk management and you break up your bankroll accordingly, just take a few small shots on everything, and then all it takes is just one hit big, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't have to even like take a zero on the ones that you miss on. Like maybe you lose 20%, you lose 15, you lose and 25, whatever the case may be, even 50. The fact that you just kind of like recoup some liquidity and deploy it into the next one, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's a zero, right? Or if you're not, so maybe it starts off with like it's a 2x or it's a 1.5x, and maybe you're not feeling it, and you just take that and run and wait for a better one. I mean, there's so many ways to play it. um, I just think you just got to make sure you stay liquid so you can take advantage of these opportunities, because when these things pop up, they're not none of this stuff is scheduled or planned or anything. They just kind of appear, and you just got to be like there to take advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, super well said, Waf. I will share a bad trade that I made over the weekend because I definitely want to emphasize that point of liquidity. So I did flip a puppet or sorry, a node monkey for the first time in a while, and I got stoked. I was like, hell yeah, made a flip. Took me about an hour. Just pretty much went onto Magic Eden and saw that there was maybe 6 or 7 puppet sales until the floor went up 0.015, and one of the puppets in that range looked pretty cool. So I was, or Node Monkey, I keep messing them up today. But yeah, one of these node monkeys looked pretty cool. I was like, heck yeah, let me grab that. Easy, easy flip. And then I looked at quantum cats and was like, they haven't run yet. Only a few to move the floor, like 0.04. So I bought one. Floor moved a little bit, but then puppets and node monkeys both came down a little bit, and people started bricking the quantum cat floor. They were just undercutting each other. So I actually just ran and accepted a bid for a slight loss there. So basically broke even between that and the Node Monk, but just wanted to share that because I did tie up a lot of liquidity with that Quantum Cat and really wanted it back because I think there's going to be better plays over the weekend. So just wanted to share that to emphasize not every trade is going to be a good play, even in this time. So don't get too much FOMO if you see, a bunch of wins on the time frame. Like there are a lot of wins in the market right now, but you got to just keep eyes on your own portfolio. Don't do any revenge trading or anything like that. And sometimes the best trade is just get your capital back and live to trade another day. So definitely want to emphasize that as the market starts to get into the banana zone, as you'd say.
Yeah, I would say on that trade, probably, right mindset, just probably wrong timing, right? Because right now, like the puppets has been like sort of the play, and it makes sense. Like, yeah, quantum cats. Why are they not running? Everything else is running. So I understand like the logical aspect of that trade. It just probably you probably did this a little bit too early. Like it wouldn't surprise me if like 1 month from now we're looking at quantum cats point three something, and it's like, oh, I knew I was right. I just didn't want to lock up my liquidity that long to complete that trade.
Yeah, completely agree. And that's something that I learned during the Merlin
Mm.
Chronicle because I staked a lot of my Bitcoin as well as my ordinals at the time. And, was just really frustrated as the market moved higher and higher. And I was just stuck in there without opportunities to move. So, especially right now when the hot stuff is puppet, exactly like you said, I would like to have some liquidity available for nice puppet flips or other stuff like that. So, definitely just being able to move freely gives me a lot of peace of mind there.
Yeah, and I want to say, I know we haven't really spoke about ordinals yet, other ordinals, but like Bitcoin Wizards, we talked about that last week. It was slightly under zero point 0.1, and I think now it's like 0.15, 0.158, something like that. So like that was one I was willing to get into and willing to hold, and the floor is up like 50% in the week. So um, I think when you're making flips, you should try and get into collections that you're okay holding. Like I don't want to flip something that I don't want to hold that particular asset. So similar to when I make loans out on Liquidium, I only do it on collections that I'm willing to hold. Because if the lender defaults and I'm stuck with the art, I don't want to get stuck with something that I don't want. So that's kind of like my mentality with all my trades. I don't want to like get involved in any ordinals I'm not willing to hold.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. And I think that was just frame one where I knew I wanted to hold a quantum cat. And like in my mind, I was like, yeah, I don't mind holding it if it goes down. But just seeing how hot the market is, it's like, I don't want to tie up that large a chunk of my bankroll right now on that. But 100% agree. And that was a great play, WAF in hindsight on the Wizards because we saw the token going up, two or 300% over the past couple of weeks, and the NFT itself, or the ordinal, was really only up like 80% at the time of you purchasing that, and now it's up closer to like 2 or 300% from a few months ago, because I think those got down to about 0.05, 0.06. And then over this weekend, before Wizard pulled back a little bit, they were at 0.18. So that was a great play, a great call on your point. I know you had a mempool snipe that happened there. Been a little bit annoying. That's the one downside of ordinals and runes being back, is there's just a bunch of mempool sniping, but still a great trade nonetheless. And that's awesome that you were able to execute another one.
Thanks, thanks. It's funny because like I'm sitting there looking at it at 0.099, and I think I bought it, and next thing you know, it's like, oh wow, someone decided to snipe it now, like of all times, and I think I wound up paying like 0.11. But I had mentioned last week on the show that I thought the floor was really thin, and as Wizards move, like the BRC 20, that this was going to move as well. And I think last week on the show we counted like maybe 20, 21 away from zero point 0.3. I do see like more are listed for sale now, but I think that just makes sense. People see that they're going for more. They're trying to cash out, so they're not breaking the floor, but the floor is higher and there's just more available. So probably now, um, you probably need still another 20, 30 sales to get to zero point 0.3, but definitely doable with Wizards, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I think Wizard is still such a good play. At least when looking at the whole grand scope of the market, I really love the fact that shitcoins have been back, and Murad is just up a storm talking about this meme coin super cycle. I definitely do think he's shilling his bags a little bit there, but I don't disagree with the sentiment, and I certainly think that that is going to be a narrative. Um, so I actually have been doing a little bit of reading recently just on formation of bubbles and how they form. And I'm not saying this to put a damper in anything. Like, I want, in on that bubble. I want to be in on the trading. But a common theme that occurs is people accept a narrative. And a lot of it is how long-term traders become short-term traders and can continue to just bid the price higher and higher and higher, and you really just need a prevailing narrative to have some of these values get out of hand, right? Because just if we want to like base in reality here for a second, they are just a lot of memes and shitcoins sometimes. So it can be so crazy when we think about how high these things can actually go. But if there is the right narrative in place, there's really no limit to how high these things can go. So all of this is to say that we have on crypto Twitter right now a bunch of the influencers talking about the meme super cycle and giving just these crazy price targets. And that's where I think, the actual price targets given are probably a little overstated. Like, I'm not sure if we're going to see 50 or 200 billion on Pepe, like some people are saying. That's not to say I wouldn't love it, but like, I just think that's maybe a bit of a stretch. But I do think the narrative of super cycle for meme coins is going to propel everything so much higher. So again, look back at runes now, where they're at and their micro caps. I think the fact that we have this narrative going on, people are going to be shooting for that 100 bill. So that means a billion is totally in the cards. So I really think that we have like a lot of upside to trade, even if it is ultimately a little bit of a speculative valuations on these things. I think there's so much more upside to have because that narrative is beginning to brew, and it's beginning to play out where more people are going to start believing in it.
I think the narrative is real, but also it's very painful to round trip like gains like this. So makes a lot of sense to take some profits along the way, even if price is still going up while you're taking profits. If anything, that's probably better than taking profits when price is going down, right? And I told myself I'm going to be more aggressive taking profits like these next several months because I'm typically a holder, and long term holding is fine. But if you're looking to like make profits, then I think this is time to be aggressive with the gains being what they are right now. Because eventually, when everybody's sitting in unrealized profit, all it takes is like first person to sell, and then the second person sells, and then everyone's dumping, and then your 500x is now like a 2x, right? So I'm gonna be aggressive taking profits. I think, especially with meme coins, because ultimately, there's no utility. These memes definitely correct like 90% during the cycle, and So you got to sell these parabolic rises. You just have to at this point.
Yeah, I really love that laugh. I think that's such fair caution. And it's really interesting how these cycles do work, because that is part of the bubble where there's going to be so many people who are going to be naysayers. And I think Jake said it well earlier in Wake and Jake. There's so many people who are used to the chop right now that when we do go a leg higher, there's going to be disbelief. There'll be people trying to short the markets, and there can really be a disbelief rally that ultimately brings us higher. But as traders, our job is just to make profit where we're able to. And there's really no trader out there who can consistently top ticket and bottom ticket every single time, right? So you kind of just have to accept going into it, hey, at some point I'm going to leave some money on the table, and just scale out of it. And I think the way that you played Gizmo over the weekend is just great. Like, you and I were messaging back and forth, and you were telling me, hey, I'm splitting these up into chunks. I'm just laddering out in 100K increments here. It's not like you just said, I'm dumping it all. It wasn't very black and white. It's higher, it's not higher. It was just, I'm going to scale as the market gives me more here. You're already in solid profit, and you continue to take profit as it keeps going up. Like, I think that's just such a good way to play it, because these things really could go up. So definitely leave a bit of a bag, but pay yourself along the way. And that's the only way to be.
Yeah. Oh, was that Jake? Was that Jake? Oh, yeah. I definitely agree with that. Like, it's something I'm trying to do differently, and being like very conscious about doing it. And like you said, you leave some money on the table. I think that's fine. I think the best traders always leave money on the table. Oh, do we get rugged?
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
I'm back. Yeah,
oh,
Red's
okay, okay. Yes. So, what else do we got on the docket? I know I mentioned last week that Mintify was gonna be coming out on the 17th, and I did notice this Gizmos also is gonna be at some point in time coming up. And if you want to make sure you're on that whitelist, make sure you get a PNB to hold that down. But is there anything else on your radar? I don't think JD sent us a listing of uh of stuff that's coming out this week.
The only other thing of note, there's no releases I have on my radar, but I did want to note the Fallen Angels, or Based Angels, because we've talked about them a few times on the show in passing, but they've really capitalized well on the trade of Gizmo. And that was actually one that I forgot to bring up earlier. But Based Angels launched their own rune, and it's doing pretty well. It's almost at a $2 million market cap. And on the launch of their token, Based Angels actually rose a lot. I think a big part of that, again, has to do with Murad, because he put out the list of NFTs to own and talked about how meme NFTs will be really big as well. So obviously those are related to Milady and all of the coins that sort of encapsulate their movement there. So they're a cousin to the Milady's ecosystem. But yeah, they did really great. They dropped the token. The prices are going up. They're definitely one that I'm keeping an eye on, and I would not be surprised if we can continue to see more ordinal collections drop runes. Do I think it's always going to be profitable? No, I don't. I think some collections probably shouldn't drop runes, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see it across the board here, as a way to try to revamp some of these floor prices. So definitely keep an eye out for that. I would not be surprised if we see airdrop season start again for ordinals pretty soon.
Yeah, it's like the puppet playbook. So I guess if we could speculate, if we're looking at the other ordinals, which ones don't have a rune and which ones would make sense to have a rune would probably be like the next place. Like if like Node Monkeys had a rune, like an official one, I think like that would do really well. So I think we should be like keep an eye out on like those potential things that could occur. I don't know if like a Quantum Cat would have one. Because because Udi makes fun of runes, right? So then if you drop one, I don't know how the market would feel about that. Um, but if any one of these major other ordinals drops a token, it's going to be huge, like you said.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's going to be Quantum Cats. It could be Node Monkeys. I really wouldn't be surprised if the team does that. I think RSEC might have a follow up pretty soon. I know JD posted a tweet from over the weekend that the Rune dev pretty much just said steady brothers, as in like keep it going. So
That's
I think
right.
there's a chance that there might be something brewing over there. I also think that Bitcoin frogs as well as honey badgers would be great communities to drop a token. Both of them, their price is beaten down a little bit, but they are pretty significant to ordinals. Honey badgers specifically have a pretty good opportunity just because honey badgers are already kind of a meme with this like honey badger don't give a shit. That was really popular, in like, I don't know, late 2010 or maybe early 2010, but the meme's been around for a while. Their floor price is down a bit. I would not be surprised if they announce a Rune airdrop at some point. I think that one would make all too much sense.
I think you could put Doge punks onto that same list. Like these are like OG sub 1 million inscriptions on Bitcoin. Make a lot of sense to go along with frogs and honey badgers. If they were to drop a rune, some of these older collections could really make a run because like they've been beaten down, um, and they have communities that are still strong and thriving, and really the only thing wrong with them is the floor price.
Oh, dude, that's a great call there. Yeah, I could totally see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the puppets just got everyone all hyped up with this playbook, and then everyone's just trying to copy it, and it makes sense to try and copy this because right now it's working.
Dude, it really is. I mean, you can just feel it in the air. The sentiment has shifted where it's not like it's 100% bullish yet, but it is way more bullish than it has been. And I really think it's just going to be a matter of time until we get that leg higher for Bitcoin as well as, ordinal collections as well. But let's talk about it, WAF, because we briefly spoke about it on the DMs. What do you think happens when Bitcoin breaks through this leg up, right? So it smashes through 70, the resistance we've had for a while. Let's say it goes to 75K or even 80K. What do you think happens with these ordinal and rune collections? Do you think they will continue to stay highly valued, more, go up in Bitcoin pricing, or do you think it's just one of those things where the USD value of those collections goes up, but in Bitcoin terms they stay the same?
Yes, I was like trying to really like deep think this, and I think to be a little bit contrarian, I think if Bitcoin really goes on a moon mission, then we're gonna see a lot of these runes that have been up 3, 4, 5x over the last few weeks, um, probably fall in value against Bitcoin. I could see them going down lower in sats as people are gonna want Bitcoin. It's kind of like back in 2021 when ETH would go up and NFTs would go up with ETH, but then when ETH like went up like too fast, floor prices on NFTs would dump. So I could totally see a world where, you know what, runes already made a run, some ordinal floors are up, and if Bitcoin really makes a huge move, and if it's up like 10, 15% in a week or something like that, then I think we're gonna see some floors on runes go down in terms of Bitcoin price. As far as ordinals, I mean, Ordinals hasn't had that same run, even though they're up in price. It hasn't gone on a run where like it 3x, 4x, 5x, or anything like that. So I think it puts Ordinals firmly back in play after the Bitcoin price goes up, because now I think if people were holding Bitcoin now, they'll have like that wealth effect, and they'll be willing to do a flex and buy an Ordinal, right? And I think the meme coins and the runes are going to go down in price after Bitcoin goes up like really high.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, WAP. I mean, I think it's going to be a bit of a lag. So I think prices will go up. I do think, sorry, Bitcoin prices go up. I think ordinal prices might retrace a little bit. But then I think eventually you're going to get a rotation because it's kind of that balance of, well, I'm priced out of Bitcoin now, so I might as well get a Bitcoin native asset. And that's, again, just one of the most bullish things you could say about runes or ordinals is that they actually live on chain, all of them. As compared to ETH, some of it lives on chain, some of it doesn't, some of it's on side chains. But what's really nice about Bitcoin is that it's truly on native asset there. So I feel it feels a little bit more legitimate. I'm not saying we're going to go back to trading NFTs like we did in 2021, but we might. So I definitely think if Bitcoin goes high enough, we could actually see that rotation back into it where people are like, you know what, I want some exposure of the pie. And then we once again see Ordinal mania in the banana zone.
Yeah, I think like you said, it's like a rotation. So when it's Bitcoin's like turn to kind of lead, it'll lead, and everything else will lag. And then we're only talking about like Bitcoin. We're not even talking about the overall crypto economy. Like now, I'm seeing like obviously with Gunzilla and off the grid, you're getting people like very excited again about games, right, on crypto. And so there's definitely going to be a run on like gaming tokens, right? So there's other things like that are going to run. And Bitcoin is like one factor in the overall economy of the crypto economy, but it's not the only thing. And the same thing goes with like runes and ordinals as like subsets. So I just think there's going to be competing narratives, and then the market only has like so much attention to pay attention to like what's like the next hottest thing. And right now, runes has been so hot that when Bitcoin becomes hot, I don't think runes is going to be hot anymore. It's just my personal opinion.
I think that's totally fair, dude. I mean, it really is hard to project and forecast everything, but I do agree with you. It's gonna come in cycles. I think there could be a point in time where it comes back even after a little pullback, but yeah, it might take a break for a minute or two there.
Yeah, like so it's, if you could ride the waves, like time your entries and exits, well, that's why like taking profits along the way makes a lot of sense. So you're not caught off sides like completely one way or another. You kind of balanced out, and then you can play the market kind of from a neutral position and not have to like pray for your bags or anything like that. I think that's probably the best way to play it.
I absolutely love it. And yeah, I mean, we saw with NFTs, even the most successful projects, they do pull back from a point in time. So, to be seen if they come back from them. I know a lot of people think they will at some point. I certainly do think they come back a little bit at some point, NFTs as a whole. I mean, I don't know if you've seen these Sprato Gremlins or any of these other projects that Murad shouted out. Some of them have actually done decently well over the last week, like really well. So I definitely think there's still room for NFTs to become popular again. But yeah, always be taking profit on your collections because you just don't know how long they're going to stay relevant for. Even something like puppets and node monkeys that have been popular for so long, it's not to say that they're always going to be the number one collection. So definitely makes sense to take some profits while you can.
Yeah, I did notice like the Pudgy floor, Pudgy Penguins has gone up recently too. So yeah, NFTs could definitely make a comeback. It wouldn't be surprising.
Absolutely. You can probably hear in the background, I'm actually in the car. I got to be going into the office today, unfortunately. So appreciate you scheduling around that, and gonna have to keep this one short pretty soon. But any other final thoughts on your end, WAF? Anything that you are bullish on? Anything going on with ordinals or otherwise that you wanted to draw some attention to?
But I think we're coming up on like the second half of October, so I think we should still be looking at a really good market. And then November, I think we really kind of hit a more of like a thickness part of the banana zone where we're going to start really seeing some really good movement and action. And if it doesn't happen, I think then my next target would be like the start of the new year, 2025 would be kind of like where I expect us to be like full in on the banana zone. I mean, I think it's going to start earlier. It seems like we are kind of like just entering it, but we're not really deep in it. But I think at some point we are going to be in that, and that could be November or that could be January. I think that's what I think.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. So, do you think we're gonna have Bullvember or November?
I think it's still going to be bullish. I mean, I think like right now we still got to like we broke this 65. Um, I think next stop is probably like try and get to 70, and then from 70 get to 74, and then once we get over 74 and close the week over 74, then I think it's like no cap after that.
Yeah, dude, I love that. I agree. I think we're gonna have to break through 70K with some sort of conviction there to really get people bulled up and ready to go much higher. But I think once we do that, it's gonna be a lot less sticky at the price points in between. I think we're gonna be able to start moving a lot more freely. And right now we're still kind of in that um consolidation zone.
Yeah, I mean we're only like 8K away, so like I think it could be a magnet to 100 after you clear 74. Would not be surprising. Like you go 74, then you go 80, and then 80 to like 100. I mean, because I think Bitcoin, if I had to like put like a top, as far as the cycle is concerned, like I could see Bitcoin topping this cycle in the like 150 to 180 range. Um, and if that's going to happen, like the move's got to start happening soon. We've been consolidating for 6 months. Um, I was watching one of those trades. The guy, is Bob Lucas. His name is Bob Lucas. I think his name is Bob Lucas, and he's basically saying like we have like 12 months. He thinks it's gonna peak out in like October 2025, just based on some of like the charting analysis he's performed. And typically it usually happens in that back half of the year, uh, after the halving. So it makes a lot of sense. So I could see next spring and next summer being really hot. And again, you don't want to call the top and wait till the top. So people should be probably like starting to exit their positions in crypto for like this cycle come next summer. And I think next summer we're going to be way over 100,000. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Dude, same here. I totally agree. I mean, I know right now we kind of got some selling from the Silk Road Bitcoin. That was at least what was being reported last. And it seems like if you just look at the price chart, some of that sell pressure that continued to trap us down is starting to lift off. It could be a trick to kind of keep prices going up and then they dump them again. But it definitely feels like we're getting a lot closer to moving freely. And we've just tried 70K or near it so many times that you can only try a price so many times until it breaks through. So I definitely agree. At some point, we're going to break through that. And then it's going to be off to the races, right? Because it's like last time we got up to 70K so quickly that there was definitely a big retracement zone. But now it's just we've spent so much time in this conviction area that I think it's more likely it goes up a lot and sets some new highs and then retests back down along the way, as opposed to like us retesting, 50 for the 10th time.
Yeah, the probability is definitely on the bullish side. I mean, the bearish side going down to 50, it's still not out of the question. Like if we can't break this 65 resistance, at some point we have to go down there again. But if we break through, then I think we're off to the races. And just from like the 4 year like cycling, the 4 year charts and the 4 year cycle of Bitcoin, it just makes a lot of sense that it's going to be time like really really soon. So enjoy like sort of like this pre-bull, and then let's get really look forward to the real bull that's coming.
Yeah, completely agree, dude. I'm really looking forward to it. I think I'm gonna have to cut out here, unfortunately, just so I can pay attention to the road ahead of me. But I appreciate it, and thank you to everybody who tuned in for this early edition of Boss Dogs today. Apologies for the delay there. Once again, Waf and I are just traveling a little bit, so I had to find some time during our schedules. But the market's so hot, we wanted to make a point of just meeting up and chatting all things. But yeah, wow. Really appreciate it, dude. And thanks as always just for posting all your plays in Discord and keeping us in the loop, dude. You've just been on an absolute tear. So once again, congrats on all the stuff, man. And I'm looking forward to watching it continue. Let's get into that banana zone, baby.
Thanks. It's been a great week. It's been a hot week, and like let's just hope like the weeks coming up are even hotter.
Dude, absolutely. I think it's gonna be. Oh, let's end up actually. Let's you were the winner this week of our price prediction. I think you predicted 67K for Bitcoin, and we were just shy of that, around 66,500 earlier today. So next Monday, where do you think Bitcoin is going to be, higher or lower, and what price?
I'm still thinking higher, and I think we're gonna be knocking on the door. So I'm gonna say like 69.5.
I love it. I was gonna get 68 on my end, also higher, but not quite there. But let's see, dude. So far, so good. We're just trending up in the right direction. Mondays are bringing a lot of green for us lately.
Yeah, Mondays have been hot. I mean, we've like been kind of falling during the week, and then by the time the show starts, like we're bullish again. We're up 5-6% on the day, which winds up being sort of like what we're up for the week, and it seems like it always happens on a Monday.
Dude, it really does.
I know,
But
right?
awesome, dude.
Uh,
Love the price predictions. Great hosting as always, man. And looking forward to our next meetup.
Me too. All right, talk to you later.
All right, dude. Talk to you later. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Bye.